Hey guys, welcome to the YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about physical media is just very expensive. And evidently, like obviously not everyone has a collection like this. I've probably spent more than most people should. But I've watched over the past couple of years how 4K Blu-rays have really jumped in price. Back a couple of years ago, you could pretty much pick up 4K Blu-rays for about 30 to 40 bucks, in that range at JB Hi-Fi. Brand new I'm talking about. Secondhand, you could probably pick up about $10 to maybe $25 depending on the release. And then I've watched 4K and Blu-ray jump to a point where it's almost unsensical. It doesn't make sense that Blu-rays would cost the same as 4Ks. And in saying that, 4Ks have got to that point now where they've actually jumped as well, and you're getting some 4K Blu-rays that are getting up to $60, $70, $80. And I get they're doing some collector experiences with some box sets. That makes sense to me. That's like a collector's experience. But when you're just charging a standard thing like a Disney release, like obviously Disney are releasing these steelbooks at the moment and putting out shows on 4K, to charge an exorbitant amount of money for those, it just doesn't make sense. And it just shows, like, obviously the technology's there and they've realized there's a collector's community there. And they're going to milk it for all it's worth. So I've been watching that price really go up on those collector ones, the 4K Blu-rays and also Blu-rays. Now DVD is in a weird spot. DVD has kind of went down, and it's because DVD manufacturers, it's so easy to ship DVDs and make DVDs that it just makes sense to keep that as is, not change anything. It's the low-end format that a lot of people are like, okay, it's entry-level, I can pick up a movie that I want to see for maybe 15 bucks at JB on sale. Whereas the same Blu-ray or 4K might cost you $30, $40, you know? And if you're going for 4K, it could even be higher. So you're looking at this whole oversight of 4K and movie collecting, and it's just very expensive. And I believe Jeff made a video about it the other day. Jeff films at home. I'm sure you can source him out. He's very popular on YouTube. He's a very good guy. I think he gets his content right most of the time. He's very factual, very good. But he did a video about, yeah, it's getting very expensive to collect 4K. And very expensive to collect overall. And there's a lot of collectors right now saying, maybe we have enough. Maybe this is enough. Maybe I have every horror movie I can possibly imagine. Yeah, don't get me wrong, there'll still be movies that come out that I'm like, yeah, I must have it, you know? I must have this. But it's few and far between now. It's like, okay, I'm kind of happy with everything I've got now. Like, I mean, if it's something like South Park where I don't know if Paramount's going to go under tomorrow, I'll pick that up just out of, you know, I want to have this available to me. But I still think it's something that is not going to be going away. I still think it's something that, if it's justifiable, obviously I've got a South Park collection as well. That's why I bought that one. I've got a South Park collection that I've kept going. But also, I think there's a weird spot with Blu-ray and 4K where collectors are starting to look at it as like, okay, we do kind of have everything we need. We kind of got Halloween. We've got, I mean, Friday the 13th hasn't got a 4K release yet. I mean, it's got some 4Ks in there, but it hasn't got a full definitive through every movie on 4K. Hasn't done that yet. Elm Street still need to do it. But even then, we've got the main movies out. We've got the first Friday the 13th. We haven't got 2 and 3 where Jason shows up. But, you know, we're getting more or less most of the stuff we could possibly imagine. We've got all of Child's Play and so on. So we're looking at this stuff now. A lot of collectors are being like, maybe it's time to retire from collecting. Maybe it's time to retire from picking up the new formats. And maybe the Blu-rays are good enough. Maybe the DVDs are good enough. Maybe it's just at the point now where TVs do such great upscaling that it just doesn't make sense to go towards 4K and to continuously upgrade. And then, you know, you'll upgrade your whole collection and be like, you'll get to that certain point where it's like, okay, I've got everything I need. I've upgraded everything. And then 8K will come out, 8K disc, and you think they're not going to do it because streaming's right there. One thing about studios that I've learned is that they will, if there's a market for something, they will make it. Make the product and people will come, you know? People will buy it. So they'll look at an 8K disc, don't get me wrong, PlayStation will look at it, even though they're trying to do away with discs and optical formats. I could see someone like IMAX doing that for cinemas, and then that being used as IMAX releases on physical media. Maybe 8K is the IMAX format. I could see something like that happening. But a lot of film negatives, especially 35mm, are starting to top out now at the resolutions they're getting scanned at. Mainly 4K. They're getting scanned at 4K, some are getting scanned at 6K, and some are even getting scanned up to 12K, you know, there's all these resolutions in between. But you look at where the industry is right now, it's getting quite expensive, and, you know, the next format is going to be hugely expensive if they go to 8K. Most people can't even see the difference between 1080p and 4K. Most people that I talk about, they're just like, yeah, I can't actually see a perceivable difference. Unless you've got like Dolby Vision or HDR turned on and they can say, yeah, I can tell the colors are better, or the sound, yeah, I can tell the sound mix or whatever. Most people, unless they're trained eyes and can look at pixel by pixel, like I can see pixel by pixel and notice smoothing and stuff like that. I can notice when DNR is being done, digital noise reduction. Most people are not going to be looking at that. They're just going to say like, okay, this kind of looks the same as my DVD version. Why did I upgrade to this? And DVD was 5 times, 6 times cheaper than what's out there right now. So a lot of people are like, oh, you know, True Lies, like, where's True Lies here? Oh, Arnie looks a bit waxy in that one, like they've had a bit of DNR, digital noise reduction done. And I put in my DVD version, oh wow, the DVD looks kind of the same, and my player upscales it pretty good. I'm pretty happy with my DVD. That's how most collectors think about it, and most new collectors. I'm not talking about the hardcore collectors like myself, like Jeff, like Serial at Midnight, all these other guys who collect 4Ks and so on. The high-end collectors will be like that. The big collectors like myself and that are going to buy that. But most general collectors who just, like the casuals, they're not going to put big thought into like, okay, I must have this quality, and, oh, I can't, pixel by pixel, the trade-off's too much. They might look at it like, okay, well, how many special features do I get on that? What do I get with this? Oh, I have a new director's commentary. Do I James Cameron back and did new commentary or whatever? I don't think he did new commentary for that, by the way, the True Lies, if you're wondering. You know, you can look at all these little things, and a collector might say, yeah, that's justifiable to go to 4K, and it looks a lot better when blown up to big screen sizes. But most collectors are just like, okay, I'm happy with the DVD. It upscales fine and it looks great. Like, I don't really care. But that's where you see, look, if they didn't have these printing presses for Blu-rays, they need to be firing like DVDs. DVDs are still in full manufacturer mode. They're churning these things out hundreds a week, and you might not think about it, but DVD is still the biggest physical media format in the world right now. By about a huge margin. They're pretty big. I think Blu-ray was starting to gain on it, and then I think 4K Blu-rays kind of caught up a little bit. But they're like 3 to 1 ahead, DVD. They're pretty far ahead, because most collectors are just like, I just want a version of my shows when I can't stream it. I just want to have a version there. I don't want to have a top-end one. I don't want to pay $60 for one Blu-ray. So you see where new collectors and casuals might not be able to justify the cost of a entry-level or like an entry-level for 4K. So you have this weird dilemma where so many collectors and so many people are like, well, has it topped out? Has physical media topped out? Has the collector market, or not collector market, has the casual market given up on the new format? Based on the evidence, it is going up, but it's not going up at the rate Blu-ray did, and it's certainly not going up, either of them are not going up at the rate DVD did against VHS. And that's because obviously the format jumping from VHS to DVD was a lot less bulky. You could obviously have a lot smaller footprint. But then you're seeing a bit of a trend now where physical media in the space of CDs and vinyl and so on are coming back. So if it's a size thing of like the cases, certainly collective markets are going back towards music, and cassette tapes are even coming back. But you see really the trend of collectors, and new collectors in particular, of, okay, they're picking and choosing what they want. Yes, they like their music on cassette. Yes, they like their music on CD. Yes, it makes sense to go back to vinyl. But for visual mediums like DVD, most people are happy with that because the upscaling gets it so right. And most people also don't want to pay exorbitant amounts. If they can get the Blu-ray at the same price where they have a DVD in with it, they would pick it up on second-hand market. But it just doesn't make sense to pay $60 for one movie when they're not that passionate about the movie and just want it there as a backup for streaming. I think it's getting a bit expensive. I've even analysed myself, is it time to retire from overall collecting? Like, I'll still pick up the ones I definitely get a bit nostalgic about and want, but it's not going to be like big big shopping experiences. Like, obviously this year I spent a lot less than previous years. I've still spent a good amount, but it's not the same as years past. Because I've been slowing down my collecting, it's got to the point where I have just about everything I want. And most collectors are like that. We've got just about everything we want, and we're getting to that point now where it's like, oh, okay, maybe it's time. Let me know what you think. Are you a collector, and do you think it's getting to that point now where you should retire from collecting? If so, or are you looking forward to spending more money on collecting and saying, no, this is the best time to buy? Let me know, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. And watch a video, by the way.